I haven't made a video in a minute, so bear with me on this one, but I'm getting back into it. So since the 5th anniversary has ended, you could say the game's clearly been going in a downward spiral. You're one of two people right now. You're either someone that's been playing the game for a decent amount of time and you're just not enjoying the game at all, or you're on the other spectrum where you're fairly new to the game, and because of that, you might be enjoying the game, I guess, but that's the new phase for almost anything. Now, without going into details of all these micro issues that are in the game that could be pointed out, I'm going to point out two big things that are the cause of a lot of people's disappointment with Dragon Ball Legends right now. The first thing I'm going to point out is the devs clearly have some favoritism towards Go Frieza. Now, there might be a big portion of people that are like,
Fusion Warriors always get the anniversary, Fusion Warriors always get the celebrations.
That's true, but at least with that being the case, they don't get a whole team, 2 elements, and just the devs single-handedly buffing them outside of a Zenkai or a Plat. When has that ever happened before? So let's say PvP was working absolutely perfectly. You'd be facing Go Frieza almost every single match, and for the most part, he has to be the most annoying unit currently in the game. Now, outside of that, Go Frieza isn't the only issue. I just mentioned it.
So let's say PvP was working absolutely perfectly.
PvP, you could say it's not working perfectly. Maybe it's improved now, but definitely in that first renovation season, boy,
you devs have to pay for your crimes.
that had to be the worst PvP season we have ever had in history. And that's not to say this one is any better, but just off the fact that somebody can get 100,000 RP in one season,
That should never happen.
that should never happen. Anyways, I could express more about how I have a dislike with Dragon Ball Legends right now. Of course, I still love the game, but right now it's really just in a slump, which is naturally to be expected because we're post 5th anniversary. Out of any celebration is going to be like that, but they just made it 100 times worse with making PvP absolutely terrible and favoring Go Frieza to the point where PvP is so repetitive, you can't do anything about it. Of course, unless you're using Go Frieza. It's kind of like when somebody asks me,
Zach, how can you counter Go Frieza? How can you counter Ultra Vegeta Blue?
you have to use Go Frieza. You have to use Ultra Vegeta Blue. Anyways, post anniversary, you often see a lot of people dropping out of the game, maybe uninstalling the game, taking a hiatus. It's good to take breaks from gacha games. Games in general, you should definitely always take breaks. It's good for your health. This game is not your life. Go to school, go get a job, go do some fitness. Something that's not the gacha game for your whole 18 hours that you're awake, even more than that, because I know some of you guys don't sleep.
This is a small segment of the video to just let you know. For the festival, I am expecting Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, nothing less. Anniversaries, festivals, always Fusion Warriors. You shouldn't expect anything different. So if you are one of those guys that are looking for G4, we've only got one G4 in the game. We need this one. Comment Ultra G4 right now. Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Either or works. Small segment. The whole video is meant to be about him, but I couldn't do that. I just gotta let the real ones know. Lock in before it's too late. Ultra Vegeta Blue locked in for the anniversary. You shouldn't expect anything different.
However, there will be a time where the game would obviously get good again, and just like the anniversary, you would want to play again. So with that being the case, you gotta start saving. There isn't much to do anyways, so your best option is to naturally start saving. If you start saving your Chrono Crystals, it will put you in the best position for when it's the festival. Now, if you're wondering when is the festival starts around November. I've made a short on this if you want to check it out, but it's pretty much just a celebration similar to the anniversary. Not exactly the same, but more so just to wrap up the whole year. Now, if you've been following me since the last festival, I've been gassing up Ultra Vegeta Blue for the whole year, waiting for him to drop. And of course, he did drop, as we all know, in the 5th anniversary. He's amazing, by the way. I love him. Might be a bit tedious to deal with, but again, I love him. And I actually went out and announced that I would save 50,000 Chrono Crystals so that I would be able to summon for Ultra Vegeta Blue with ease. But it doesn't really matter because trying to get my second copy, it took me 40,000 CC. So it just goes to show that RNG could really just do you bad whenever it wants to. But then again, I did get my first copy in one summon, so this wasn't meant to be a flex. Anyways, the point is to say that if you save your Chrono Crystals in these dead periods, you'd be able to actually have success in the hype periods. And that's what you'd want. You don't want to just log back into the game when the festival starts and be at like 1,000 Chrono Crystals and then try to rack up Chrono Crystals in a rush, because they will give out a lot of Chrono Crystals, but you'd have to work for it. And on top of that, you'd probably be spending the scraps that they would give out when you could have had way more between the periods of August leading all the way through to November, closing out in December when they'd most likely drop an Ultra or maybe something new. Also want to point out that because it's the festival, you can expect a new mechanic. Some mechanics we've seen in the past. Ultra Gogeta Blue's counter, very annoying, immediately made him top 1 in the game. Blue Bros in general with the tag switch, that was amazing. Ultra Super Gogeta being the first summonable Ultra, we all loved that, just pointing that out as well. And maybe not necessarily a new mechanic, but sort of hope Trunks as well was very good when he released for the festival. A lot of players as well that are veteran players like myself who have been playing for about 5 years now would definitely tell you that the festival is more worthwhile than the anniversary. They're just more generous in general. So if you're going to spend your Chrono Crystal somewhere, it would be in the festival if you're looking to profit the most. Now let me tell you this, saving isn't easy, but if I made a video stating that I would save 50,000 Chrono Crystals knowing that there's a 20k CC cap, you guys can do it too. But if you're not finding the game fun, just take this video as a reminder that at least log in, do your dailies, keep the bare minimum active, so that when you do want to play the game and when the game is somewhat enjoyable, you'd be able to actually take that in. I'm recording this segment after, but another thing I felt I should really add into the video, it's quite important if you actually really want to think about it, is that when the festival starts, right, last year we had 3 parts and I believe the year before we also had 3 parts, but let's just take last year's format and let's take the anniversaries format this year. So we've had part 1 where they drop a Legends Limited. In this case, part 2 for the anniversary, they dropped 2 Legends Limiteds, but I think that's just because it was the superhero campaign that they wanted to add. They dropped us an Orange Piccolo and Gamma 1 and 2, which was actually pretty cool. But last year, let's take the festival, they only gave us Trunks and Vegeta, which everybody pretty much accepted were pretty mid, I'm not going to lie. And then the Ultra came at the 3rd part, so that's for the finale, further into December. So if we're really thinking about it, you gotta be very careful in the anniversary or the festival, because it's closer to the end when you're gonna get what you really want, which is the Ultra. Ultras are usually the most valuable unit. In this case, I already spoke about Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. But of course, just taking last year's festival as a template, another thing that was really good to point out is that the actual festival banners were there until the 3rd part. So even around the time Ultra Gogeta Blue dropped, which was the 3rd premium unit for the festival, the Trunks and Vegeta banner was still there and the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta banner was still there. That's to my memory anyways. I wasn't really big on either of them and I still have both of them pretty low stars, but Ultra Gogeta Blue I 14 starred because I had my priorities on straight. But of course it is to your liking and the festival units could literally be anybody. But I guess what I'm really just trying to say is be very patient when it comes to the festival. There's a lot of hype that comes around, and even when the units drop that are so exciting, a lot of people forget all the major issues in the game because they're just enjoying the new units. Don't get sucked in, don't get tunnel vision, and keep your eye on the prize. In this case, at least for me, it might be different for you, it's the Ultra that's coming at the end of the festival. I don't really have much more to say honestly. I just really hope the game does get better, but generally speaking, I feel like I've seen this multiple times, but right now it's just the worst it's ever been. Usually after the anniversary, the game would get worse. Naturally, the game's not going to be as fun. We just left one of the most hype periods of the year, if not the festival. In this case, it's the anniversary. But the low we're at right now, these are some lows, man. These are some lows. If you want to leave your frustrations in the comment section below, go ahead. But I think I'm going to do some more of these discussion videos because PvP is just a wreck and there's honestly not much more to do than just count your Chrono Crystals. With that being the case, let me know how many Chrono Crystals you got right now. I'm sitting at around 20,000, which is a good amount. But of course, I could always get to more. And given that there's nothing really hype that drops, I'll be stacking that high until the festival, man. Appreciate you guys for watching. Press that subscribe button. Take care, man.